Hello and welcome to Anatomy with Dr. P. In today's lesson, we're going to be looking at the regions and structures of the large intestine. The first region of our large intestine we're going to be discussing is this sac-like pouch here called the cecum. The word cecum actually means blind pouch because this region of the large intestine doesn't actually go anywhere. Notice how it's sitting below our ileocecal valve. So any food that winds up here gets pushed up into the other regions. The second region of the large intestine is known as the colon. And we're going to divide the colon down into several different subsections. Starting from our ileocecal valve, as the colon travels upwards along the right side of the body, we call this region the ascending colon. As the colon comes up and reaches the underside of the liver over on the right side, notice how we make this turn here, a 90-degree turn. This is known as our right colic flexure because it's a bend, a flexure in the colon, that's where we get colic from, and it's on the right side of the body. Now, the right colic flexure can also be called the hepatic flexure because this portion of the colon is turning on the same side as our liver. From our right colic flexure, we're going to travel across the abdomen. We call this portion of the colon the transverse colon. And once the transverse colon reaches the left side of the body, we have another 90-degree turn. This is our left colic flexure. Now, the left colic flexure is occurring at the same area as the spleen, so sometimes we refer to the left colic flexure as the splenic flexure. As our left colic flexure turns us, we start to travel down the left side of the body. This portion of the colon is known as the descending colon because we're traveling down the left side. At the bottom of the descending colon, we get to this kind of S-shaped region. This S-shaped region down at the end is known as the sigmoid colon. Sigmoid means sigma-shaped or S-shaped. After the sigmoid colon, the next region that we can see is this straight region. The straight region is referred to as the rectum. Remember, rectum in Latin means straight. That rectum is eventually going to lead down to the anal canal, which is this small area here, with the opening called the anus. So the anus is the opening at the end of the gastrointestinal tract. Now let's talk about a couple of the structures that we can see in our large intestine. The first are the Hfstra. Hfstra are these pouches that we see all along the length of the large intestine. Now, what's causing those Hfstra are three bands of smooth muscle. We can see one band here, here's another band running along here, here's another band here. These bands of smooth muscle run the entire length of the large intestine, and they're called tinea coli. Tinea coli comes from words that mean ribbon for tinea, and coli refers to the colon. So essentially the ribbons of the colon. As the tinea coli contract, they're what form the Hfstra of the large intestine, giving it this pouch shape. And the whole function for this is as the tinea coli contract, that's going to help move the fecal material from one Hfstra to the next. So essentially we can move the fecal material up, over, down, around, and eventually out. The last structure we need to mention, if we look at our cecum, so over here on the lower right side of the body, we can see that attached to the cecum is this little worm-like structure. This is called the appendix. The appendix comes from a verb appendare, which means to hang on, because the appendix hangs on to the cecum. Now, our appendix is thought to be a vestigial organ, which means it doesn't really have a function in the body. Some sources will argue that it can serve as a reservoir of bacteria. So let's say we have a condition that wipes out our gut flora. Bacteria from the appendix can come back in and recolonize the gut. Now, that's a nice idea, but there isn't a lot of evidence supporting that. So we're going to consider it a vestigial structure, meaning it doesn't have a function.